Everything's getting back to normal now. During the hurricane, we relied heavily on a generator. We were very fortunate because we lost power for 8 days, and we were able to use this generator to keep things running in the house. It's 9,250 watts, electric start, but I didn't have a battery, so I just pull started it. And 30 amp hookups, 120 volt, and a USB charger if we needed it. Also, there's a power meter that when the motor's running, it shows you various functions. Great generator, ran flawlessly. No complaints at all, except one. At 9,250 watts, it didn't have enough power to run several things at the same time. We have a transfer switch and necessary breakers per code, but the problem is these are only 25 amp breakers. 25 amp breaker kept tripping every time we would attempt to use the well pump, which was wired for 220, and the water heater, which is 220, or we'd turn on the microwave, or we would cycle different things on. But whenever we turned on the water heater, it would draw more than 25 amps and it would keep popping the breaker. So even though we had a generator and we were able to keep a lot of things running, we could not run our air conditioning and we could not have hot water, although we did have water, which was a big deal, and we could keep our refrigerator running until we ran out of gas and had to evacuate. So the air conditioning not running in South Florida is a big deal for a couple reasons. One, it gets very warm, but also we need to keep the air dehumidified so we don't have mold and things like that growing. So if that's the case, what do? If you're very happy with the branded generator you have, you just get a bigger one. I'm going to open this thing up and take a look at it. It's a Powerhorse 27,000 watt generator. It's the same one that we have, except on steroids. So let's take a look. It came very well packed and on a pallet, and as you can see, it's rated for 18,000 continuous watts, 27,000 surge. It will run for 8 hours on 17 gallons of gas and has a 2-year warranty. As with all products that I purchase from China, I take a deep whiff of the air. It makes me feel like I'm on vacation. The generator was very securely fastened to the pallet, and it even had a small toolkit as well as all of the manuals and everything else wrapped up in plastic and zip tied to the side. Surprisingly, they also included a pretty substantially sized 12-volt battery. It's a twin-cylinder engine of 999 cubic centimeters displacement. After flipping through the manual, I saw that the installation instructions for the handles as well as the wheels were very detailed. For instance, the wheels are on an axle that are held in place with 2 pins, and there's a short side and a long side, and it specifically tells you how to put everything together. So I would say the instructions were pretty clear. Plus, they also included a battery cable for charging 12-volt items. I don't know how clean the power is coming out of there, but it's good in an emergency. The manual claims 5% or less of total harmonic distortion, so it says it's okay to run sensitive electronics. For some reason, these wheels had great bearings in them that just kept rolling and rolling and rolling with no friction at all. This thing is a beast. It's really heavy, so it does have handles that fold up or down to help move it around, and then once they're up or down, they lock in place with a little lock pin. After reading the manual from front to back in my chosen language, I saw that I needed to add oil as it was shipped dry. It said to add 10W30, so I ended up using a Mobil 1 oil. I know that there are a couple different schools of thought about having a break-in period or whatever, but I just went ahead and put in the Mobil 1 and wouldn't have to worry about it again. It does have a low oil shutdown switch as well, which is a great feature. This engine called for 2.6 quarts, so I just bought 3 and had a little spare in case I needed it. I let the oil settle and then verified on the dipstick that everything was within range, and then I connected the battery cables. I put a multimeter on the battery just to see what kind of voltage it had on it, or if I needed to charge it, and surprisingly, it was fully charged. I pulled out the included fuel strainer and added 17 gallons of gas, and then I put stable in the gas because I didn't know when the next time I turned this thing on was going to be. The build quality was the same as our other Powerhorse generator, so all I did was turn on the fuel, pull out the choke, and turn the key, and she started right up. I started the generator next to the garage door just for demonstration purposes, but we actually have a designated spot that's about 20 feet away from the side of the house, and the doors are closed. The display cycles through several different functions. Right now, 242 shows how many volts. F is the frequency of 62.4 cycles, and then T would be the total time, and then push it one more time, and it's the running time since the last refill. Very handy for keeping track for maintenance. Whenever I'm going to be shutting the generator down, I always turn the fuel off and just let the carburetor run dry. Once it's off, don't forget to turn off the ignition so it doesn't discharge the battery.